Hello guys, and today we have here another awesome deck profile. We have Frightfur. This is a deck that's actually been out since New Challengers, I believe, is when this deck first made its debut with Fluffles and Edge Imps. And so it got a lot of new support, so it's actually a really decent fusion deck. There's just random support for fusion monsters that came out that I think is amazing. And so we have here a very interesting deck that can actually do something, it can actually play. The deck has synergy. So let's just go right in. We have two Tomahawk. There is no fusion monster for Tomahawk yet, but his effect is you can send one Edge Imp monster from your hand to the graveyard, inflict 800 to your opponent. Not too good, be it you can combo it off with cards like Sabres, who you can just summon back out, or Chain, who when sent from hand or field to the graveyard, lets you search for a Frightfur card. So there's some combos you can do there. Besides that, he can send one from the deck, and you can activate both effects in one turn. Do note this. Send one Edge Imp monster from your deck to the graveyard. I'd send Sabres, and then he gets that name, so he's a Prisma pretty much. If you want to go for a certain one, a lot of times you're using Sabres, because Sabres can make Bear, Wolf, and Tiger, who are some of your really good ones. You still try to OTK with Wolf a lot in this deck, so Tomahawk can be really good with that. For another searcher, we have Fluffle Dog, who will either add Sabres or any of our Fluffle monsters to our hand. Leo, just to be another Fluffle monster, and he can gain 500 if he attacks, but mainly to be another Fluffle monster. And then Edge Imp Chain, if he declares attack, you can get another copy of himself from your deck to hand. If he's sent from the hand or field to graveyard, as I said earlier, get any of your Frightfur cards such as Frightfur Fusion, Frightfur Factory, and those are all the ones that I run. I don't run any of the other ones. And then we have the Teddy Bear. You can ditch him to run Toy Vendor, which is actually good now, because there's better things you can do with it. And then you have Edge Imp Sabres, who he's pretty much the main fusion monster, and you can top deck a card to summon him from the graveyard, so he's kind of like a Plague Spreader. And then Edge Imp Saw, he's actually really good because if he's normal summon, send one Fluffle card from your hand to the graveyard, draw 2 cards, and place 1 card from your hand on either top or bottom of the deck. I'd highly recommend placing it on the bottom unless there's some combos, such as with Toy Vendor. If you have Toy Vendor out, you can draw into another Toy Vendor, then you can send it to the graveyard to get Toy Vendor's other effect off, which I will get to a little bit later. So there's a lot of combos with him. He's just great draw power primarily. And then Fluffle Owl, you can pay 500 to fusion summon a Frightfur monster from your extra deck, using monsters on your hand, or you can just normal summon him and special summon, or normal or special summon from your hand, and you add 1 polymerization from your deck to your hand. So that is why we run 2 polys in this deck. And then Fluffle Sheep, who is kind of like our cycler here. If you control another Fluffle monster, you can summon himself. So there is room to make rank 2s if you notice the small extra deck, so there is a room to make rank 2s. You can return one other Fluffle monster you control to the hand, special summon an Edge Imp monster from your hand or graveyard. So this works really well with our Prisma here. It works well with Chains. Just making certain fusion monsters can really help, because you can just then go for another fusion summon. You do not get Saw's effect off, and you can get Chain's effect off if you attack or if you use them for fusion material. And then we run 1 Rabbit, who adds in Edge Imp Sabres or Fluffle monster when used for fusion material. And as for our spells, we run 3 Frightfur Fusion. It's a miracle fusion, pretty much. Fusion summon 1 Frightfur monster from your extra deck by banishing fusion materials listed on it from your side of the field or graveyard. So it helps with the consistency tremendously. For Jackie, just a staple. Fusion Conscription. This card, it's just like wow. Reveal 1 fusion monster from your extra deck, and if you do, add 1 of the fusion materials listed on that card from your deck to the graveyard to your hand. With the rest of the turn, you cannot normal summon, set, or special summon monsters, or activate the effects of monsters with the same name as the monster added to your hand by this effect. So you can't necessarily go right away on fusion summon. Like if you add a Chain, you can fusion summon Poly with it and then try to add a Frightfur Fusion, but you can still get that consistency bonus where you get a whole bunch of stuff to your hand. So that is really nice. Do note you can also you can also search out cards like Grandma, Neos, any of the Elemental Heroes. So this card is really crazy in how many cards you can help just search out. Also like Cyber Dragon is now searchable. So 2 Polys, 2 MSTs, Frightfur Factory, banish 1 Poly spell card or Fusion spell card from your graveyard, except a Fusion Wave Motion, Fusion summon 1 Frightfur Fusion monster from your extra deck. So you can banish probably. You can banish Frightfur Fusion, or you can banish Fusion Description. The best one is Frightfur Fusion. And you get onto that a little bit. You'll see that soon. Fusion Summon a 5-field Fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or side of field. So it's kind of like a covenant with the Swamp King that the DDDs have. Target one of your banished Frightfur Fusion, add it to your hand if it leaves the field. You can only use each effect of Frightfur Factory once per turn. We only run one because it can get a little bit cloggy, but if this card's banished, you can then add it back to your hand, so it helps cycle and do a whole bunch of stuff. You activate it, if it leaves the field, you get it, and then you have a whole bunch of fusion materials in your grave, so yeah, that works. And then Toy Vendor, this is an interesting card. Once appear and discard one card, so you got rid of one card, draw one card, and reveal it. If it is a Frightfur monster, you can special summon one monster from your hand, otherwise discard it. So you have the potential to go -1, because you discarded a card, drew a card, and then got rid of the card you drew. So yeah, you can go minus with this card, or you can go even by drawing into a Frightfur monster. But if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one Frightfur monster or Edge and Sabrace from your deck to the hand. So if you draw into Toy Vendor, you get to go even, because then you get to search through your deck. If you draw into a Chain, you get to search through your deck. If you draw into Sabrace, you can top deck a card and go even more minus to summon them out. So there's a variety of cards you can draw into. If you play this card right, you can maybe do some stuff. If you draw into Owl, you can use his effect to summon himself. Draw into Frightfur Sheep, and do a whole variety of different combos with this. You want to run 3 because you really want to draw into this card, so that way you can use its effect to search. And then for more generic Snatch Sale and Vanity's Emptiness is just help tremendously with this. And so that is the main deck. It looks really confusing, but as long as you can get out some of these fusion monsters, and they actually have decent effects. We have, for first one, Match a Mirror. You need 3 Frightfurs. You only run 1 because it's hard to make them. Must be fusion armor, cannot be spelled from my other ways. This card attacks, or is attacked. Your opponent cannot activate cards or effect until the end of the damage step. This card destroys an opponent's marked by Owl, sends a graveyard. Go your way. But its attack is half, and it doesn't go into defense, so you can attack with it right away. It's going to use its effect of once per turn against your attack for each monster controlled that is owned by your opponent, so it can gain a whole bunch of attack. And then Leo, you pretty much destroys a monster, then your opponent takes half the damage and cannot attack the directly the turn you activate this effect, so you can get rid of 2 monsters really easily. And then of course we have Frightfur Bear. If the card destroys an opponent's by monster by battle, you can equip it, and this monster gains 1000 attack. And you can keep on doing this, so it gains even more attack. Frightfur Wolf can attack a number of times equal to the number of fusion materials used for it, so it's really easy to ODK. All you need is 4, and it can attack 4 times, which results in 2,000, which will result in 8,000. And then this is a newer one, Frightfur Tiger. You can only control 1 when this card is fusion summoned. Target number of cards on the field, up to the number of fusion materials, and destroy it. Gains 0 attack for each Frightfur and Frightfur monster you control. So it's an instant 22 beater, and he can destroy 3 cards, so that's really great. Well, not 3, but at least 2 cards, so that I can hit a pendulum deck. So he's really nice. And then this one, which I actually really like, Frightfur Sheep. This card attacks, so as attacked, your opponent cannot activate cards or effect until the end of the damage step. If this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, or the card you control is destroyed by an opponent's card effect and sent to graveyard, special summon it, gains 800 attack. You can only use this effect of Frightfur Sheep once per turn. So it's a really annoying card, because if they can't get rid of it twice in 1 turn, yeah. And do note that one of the times he will have 2800 attack, so that can be a little bit annoying to get over. So he's really fun just to summon out and be like, at least I have this monster, then unless they summon out BLS, I'm pretty decent. And so that is it for the deck. Again, I don't run any ACs, I don't run any synchros. The deck has a whole bunch of extra deck room, which after playing Shaddolls, wish more decks had that. But you really can't XZ summon in this deck unless you have a Frightfur Sheep and maybe some other cards already out there. But there's a variety of combos in this deck. You can use Frightfur Sheep to return Owl, to return Dog, and then you can normal summon them again and get off their effects. There's just weird combos. It's just like, you look at this deck and it's like, how does this deck work? How can this deck be good? And then you play it, you're like, oh, it's actually doing something? I didn't think of that. If you think that this would be inconsistent to get off a fusion summon, but then you do, and you get out 2 Frightfur Sheep, or you use Frightfur Fusion to get out 2 of them, or something different. It's just very strange, and it looks like it's very dependent, like, oh, I need chain when I have Sabres, but it's really easy just to do a variety of different things. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck profile. That is primarily it. I just wanted to do a deck profile on Frightfur because they finally got support that puts them on a level of decency where I feel they deserve a deck profile. Before I felt that they were entirely bad. But hey, this is a deck, who knows, maybe it might get even more support. It would be lovely to go into regionals and see the meta decks being Yosenjues, being, I don't even know what the name of the kid that plays this. I haven't watched Shark 5 in such a long time. Just seeing all these cards being meta, but more than likely they won't be, never are. And because of that, we'll probably see this deck get like a character structure deck or something special to do with the kid. Who knows, maybe once the sub version of Arc 5 comes out, we might be seeing some more very fun Arc 5 type stuff. But that is it for the deck profile. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this this deck profile, and we'll check out my previous video, which was a Shadol's versus something. Shadol versus Fire King. Shadol versus Fire King. So hopefully you guys can check out that duel. We have this Frightfur deck again, just to get you guys to think maybe this deck could be good. Hope you guys enjoyed this deck profile. Once more, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later. Bye.